Welcome back to the Young Creatives podcast. This week, today you have Christian and Mikayla.
Yes.
So.
Hey, guys.
Yes, very much so. So you guys met Christian last week, and today we're going to be talking about something a little interesting, I guess.
I think it's super interesting.
It's just like a little different than our like normal content because it's very, I don't want to say our normal content isn't deep, but like this
it's more fun, I feel.
Yes, this one's more like
like searching inward.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about how our family has influenced us as adults. So I guess the biggest, we could just answer that question, but Christian, I know you grew up in a single family household. Like, how was that growing up?
So going through it, I hated it because all of my friends had like both of their parents. Luckily, I was friends with quite a few girls who their dad like took on like the father role in my life. But as I got older, I started to understand that it was probably it was for the best that my parents got divorced. A lot of times I would hear that like you come from a broken household or a broken family if your parents are divorced. But I learned later that had my parents stayed married, I would have been in a broken household. So I really do think that coming from a single parent household was beneficial to me specifically. I can't speak for my sisters or for anybody else that comes from a single parent household, but for me, I feel like it was very beneficial.
Mm-hmm. And growing up, my parents have been together for almost, I think it's like 7 years. And so, like, that's crazy, especially because most of my friends growing up were from single family households.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I personally thought it was like a North thing. I don't know, like, when I was growing up. But, like, it's really weird because, like, when they're like, oh, yeah, I have a bag for my mom's house and my dad's house. Like, I never had that concept because I was always in one house. And
right.
I'm not saying I'm not thankful for that. I very much am thankful for that. But it was a very, like, normalized thing growing up, like saying like, okay, yeah, like my parents are separated. And I never realized like how grateful I am to have my parents together. And so with that, like how would you say like just being raised by your mom has helped you or not helped you?
So I think that being raised by just my mom has helped me in a lot of different ways. Specifically, like my mom's just like a go-getter and she's a hard worker. Like I was telling you earlier, like, her motto for life literally is just do it. So I think that just growing up and really recognizing all the hard work and sacrifices that she made in order to get herself to the position that she's in now, and then also raise me and my sisters to be as successful as we are. That's really influenced me, and it's like I have a great example of, or a great role model for what a strong Black woman is, because I can look at my mom and see that. But also, I feel like strong is such a, I don't know, it's like, it's a word, it's positive, but I feel like it can also be like a negative. I look at it sometimes as a negative, like sometimes I don't like being called strong. I don't want to be called strong. Because I feel like it's a word that's often, it's usually associated with being a Black woman, like being a strong Black woman. And we're women, so we don't want to have to be strong all the time. But growing up with my mom being a single mom, she was strong all the time. So that's something that I've taken on as a woman. I'm like strong all the time, even when I don't have to be. So in relationships, sometimes there is no like soft feminine side to me. There's just like that strong side. And it's hard for me to, sometimes it's a struggle for me to just be. Sometimes it's really hard for me to just be. So I think
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that she's influenced me in like a bunch of different ways. Even like putting your best foot forward, saying what you mean, meaning what you say, going after everything that you want in life. So those are all great lessons that my mom has taught me. But then there are also just like things that she knows that I see in her that I don't necessarily agree with. But then I like reflect and I look at myself and I see those things in me as well.
Right. Yeah. No, I can very much relate to that. So I was telling Christian this story, but Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry for telling you this story. So growing up, so I didn't necessarily live in like a not at all, not even close to living into like a super wealthy neighborhood. St. Francis was kind of known as like literally like the town of rednecks, like rednecks, big trucks, like chew tobacco, like people get pregnant in high school, like overdosing on meth, all of this crap. Yeah. And the thing is like very innocently, my mom, she couponed. And that has nothing to do with like the town we were from. Like, I was so embarrassed about my mom couponing because I was seeing like no other families like specifically catering like their meals and their routines over this couponing. Mm-hmm. Like if there was a buy one get one free for a specific type of shampoo, you best know we're getting that, even if I don't like it. Like even if it makes my hair look crusty, like we're getting it. Yeah. And so like I was so embarrassed, but the thing is I just like vividly remember like sometimes like she would be like, oh, hang on, I have to pull it. And she would be like holding up the line and like all of these things. And as innocent as that was, I was just like so like, what the heck are you doing?
Girl, come on, get it together.
Yeah, exactly. So like that was like one very innocent thing. But at the same time, my mom and my dad always used to tell me growing up, never go to bed mad at each other. And I've taken that into my marriage with Trevor. And the ways that that's helped me in our relationship, chef's kiss, literally. Like, so much. Because you never, like, once you go to bed, you're going to wake up mad. Mm-hmm. And you just need to, like, depack those things and start fresh. Otherwise, it's just going to be, like, dragging, and you don't know where it ended or blah, blah, blah. So that was, like, the two biggest things that my family standards has helped me in a way. Mm-hmm. But getting into the, like, deeper part of it, how have you seen your mom, like, growing up with your mom or your sisters, like, impacted you, not negatively, but, like, put you in a situation where you're like, oh, like, am I supposed to believe this? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So as far as being, like, too strong, I feel like that's one way that the way that I saw my mom has, like, negatively impacted me as a woman. But even, what's something else? Because my mom's not perfect. And so it's funny for me to be having this conversation with you because she and I have these conversations all the time. Mm-hmm. What's something Miss Rebecca did that I'm just like, girl. So growing up, my mom wasn't very emotional. So my mom, because she had to be the mom and the dad, oftentimes I feel like she like played more of the dad role. Like she was just like very like stern and strict, and like she was mean. Like my cousins always remembered my mom, Aunt Becky, being like the mean aunt. Like my friends always said like, your mama mean. Like that was just who she was because she said like, I can't be y'all's friend. I have to be y'all's parent.
Right.
And I'm y'all's only parent, so I just have to be, like, very stern and strict with y'all. So she was mean. She wasn't very emotional. And now, as an adult, I'm like, I'm not emotional at all. Like, emotions make me cringe. It's so awkward to me. Like, like, me and my sisters don't hug. Like, we just started telling each other, I love you. So, like, imagine me saying that to, like, a friend or someone that I'm in a relationship with, like a boyfriend. It's just, like, it's awkward for me to, like, do those things. Like, I don't like physical touch at all. Like, don't touch me. But that's because I didn't grow up in a household with like, physical touch or, like, just, like, openly saying I love you all the time. That's just not how I grew up. So that's not the norm for me. And that, I feel like, is a way that I was negatively impacted by something that I was shown or taught as a child.
That's really interesting because I don't want to say my parents never told me that they loved me, but
it wasn't just, like, something they said all the time.
The only times they did was after something super big or something that, like, happened.
Yeah.
And so with that, like, going into adulthood, like, I need words of affirmation. Yeah. Like, I need you to hold my hand. I need you to tell me you love me at the end of the night. Yeah. Like, so it's two totally different situations happening here.
Very different.
Absolutely. And also another thing, so I don't want to say this is like a negative thing, but my dad, he coached fast pitch softball for me for like 10 or 12 years of my like entire childhood. And that's like all I remember growing up. And like, it was like literally and since I could hold a bat until like high school, he like coached me. He was there for me. He bought all my equipment. Like, he was there at every game, like blah, 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 blah. And so he, as a coach, he has to say certain things, but as a dad, he can't say those things sometimes. But when certain things happen in the game, he can't depict, like, what emotion to go with. And so he'll just, like, he lets it, like, rule. So he literally, like, if he has something to say when you, like, screwed up, or when somebody else screwed up or whatever. And he does this himself. Like, he will call you out. And he'll be like, he won't call you out 2 days later. He won't call you out a day later. He will call you out on the spot. And, like, one of the very specific instances was, like, in a softball game, something happened. I don't remember what happened exactly. But he was talking to the umpire, and he, like, threatened my dad to, like, he was like, you're going to get thrown out of this game if you say anything else. Yeah. And it's just, like, one of those situations because he has to swallow his pride as a father and realize, like, okay, maybe I'm not right in this situation, but also still, like, stick up for his team. Yeah. And so I very much do that, too, especially at work because my emotions are so involved here. Like, I put all of my passion into it. I want the best for, like, everybody here that, like, 90% of the time when I'm stressed, I'm just, like, stressed because I know things could have gone better and it's a different way. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, like, I'm disappointed. Like, I might be disappointed in myself, but it's like, I'm only disappointed in myself because I know I could do better. Like, it's not necessarily bad. It's just, like, yeah. So that's how that's affected me growing up. But based on, like, how your mom raised you and just growing up with, like, you said you had four sisters? Three sisters. So just growing up with just sisters, how do you think that has influenced yourself in, like, how you look at sisterhood or single moms in general? Like, do you have a greater appreciation for them? Or
my gosh, I respect anybody that's a single parent.
Yeah.
Like, of course, hats off to single moms, but single dads, like, if just raising a child is not meant for one person, right. But to be able to do it and do it successfully, like, that's not talked about enough. And so kudos to like every single parent out there. But I'm going to shout out my mama because she was a single mama. But I think that I have a greater appreciation for single parenting. And then I have such a great appreciation for sisterhood because I have 3 sisters. So even like in friendships, it's like I expect what I give to my sisters or what my sisters give to me out of my friends, because a lot of the times if I'm calling you my friend, like it's much deeper than just like a friendship. Like I look at you as a sister. So I expect my friends to treat me like my sisters treat me, or like come to me the way that my sisters would come to me, or even to just like know me as a person the way that my sisters know me. And that's not always the case. Like I've had quite a few times where that's backfired, and I'm like really upset. My emotions are running high because I'm like, well, if you're my friend, really my sister, how would you not know, or why would you go about it this way, or why would you not do it this way, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, Christian, like take a step back. That's not your sister. Like these are your sisters. So I oftentimes like I bite myself in my I kick my own butt sometimes for going about things that way or looking at friendships that way. But then I'm grateful because I recognize that I have 3 best friends, like permanent best friends. So and so my mom, being a single mom, she raised us that way. Like your sisters are going to be like not your only friends, but those are like your sisters are your best friends. So you can always count on your sisters. You can always run to your sisters. And oftentimes, like I told you earlier, I had friends who had like both parents. So I would be with them all the time. And I was always with like them and their family, because that's what family felt like to me. That's what I thought family was supposed to be. So that's what I wanted to be around all the time. And then now as an adult, I'm like, no, family is what I have. Like my sister, my mom. Yeah, and like I have a greater appreciation, not just for single parents, but for my sisters, like the 3 of my sisters as well, because that's what true friendship is to me. Like I was taught friendship in the midst of growing up as with a single mom and 3 sisters.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it's so hard because I've had like some super deep friendships, not only in college, but like in high school, that like I carried with me, and I was like, I thought it was a really good friendship, but it was not, and it was super toxic. And those expectations bite me, because then I see potential new friendships that are actually toxic, and I don't recognize it as toxic because that's what I thought friendship was. Yeah. And so it's a lot of relearning, the wheel. And 90% of the time, like, learning, first of all, making friends as an adult is hard.
Girl, yes.
Like,
yes.
I am 22, and I moved to a whole new city like a year ago, and I literally can say like the only people that I've like actually like known who's had my back are my coworkers and Trevor's coworkers.
Oh, dang, Mikayla.
Yeah. Like, I haven't like met anybody out of these circles.
Wow.
That I'm like, yes, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I want to like hang out with you and like go get coffee. And because like the thing is when you're with these people every single day, like you're like, dang, like I know I can trust them because I can see their work ethic like on an everyday basis. If I'm going to go hang out with this girl at a coffee shop that maybe I've met like 1 or 2 times before, I think it's like the trust issue for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say, like, oh, you're freaking doing drugs behind the coffee shop, but it's like, I just see, like, I already see, like, your guys' worth ethic proved and your values proved here without, like, setting up the awkward situations of, like, oh, are you Democrat or Republican or blah, 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 blah. Like, they naturally come up.
Yeah.
And it's like those different, and like, not I would say, I wouldn't say like I'd choose friendship over Democrats or Republicans, but like, just like, I know who you are as a person naturally versus like it being so
staged.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like dating.
That's exactly what finding friends, that's what it's like as an adult.
Yes.
It's like dating. You
It's
have to like
literally
date to
like
find
dating.
friends.
Yeah. Unless like you're super drunk at a bar, like, and then you just stumble upon people like Michael does. He does that a lot, and he's living his life over here. I absolutely love it for him. But if you're a girl and that happened to you, like 90% of the time, like there's gonna be a cat fight within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
or
girls,
something.
honestly, girls just aren't as friendly.
Like just,
That's all.
like I need some girls that are gonna be real with me. So
that's why I'm thankful for my sisters.
Yeah.
I have 3 of those.
Yeah, seriously. And like with the biggest thing is like knowing that my dad is so blunt, how I saw that growing up. I saw it like not only in quote unquote funny ways like that, but there was like a lot of instances where like we had a lot of death in my family growing up, and it was a lot of like grandparents or cousins of them or whatever. And I quite frankly just asked them, like, do you think they're going to make it? And he would give me a blunt answer, like when he knew I was ready for that.
Yeah.
Like, and he didn't lie to me. He wasn't like, oh, time will tell, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he would give me a blunt answer.
Yes or no.
And I think that helped, but also, like, hurt me. Because it's like, you can see how much, like, words have power. Because it's like asking someone where you're in, like, a rocky relationship with them, like, do you still love me? Like, I don't know if I want to know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Are you going to make it to, or like, do you think they're going to be living next week? I don't want to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Like, did I get into college? Like, the one college that I, like, absolutely loved. I don't want to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I do.
It's almost like you want the answer, but it's like, I don't want to say you want to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
But it's like, soften it up for me. Don't just, like, say it.
Right.
And that's something else that, like, I can relate to. Like, my mom, she just says it. Like, my mom she just goes for it. She just says it. I mean, with me and my sisters, we all have we're all the same, but we all have, like, our own just different personalities. And so I'm the most like my mom. So I receive things, and I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'll take it. I'm like, whatever. I'll do. It's really, like, do with it what you will. That's like, those are her intentions when she's talking to us. But she's had to learn over the years with my oldest sister, Brandy, she's more sensitive. So when my mom's talking to her, she has to really think about what she's going to, like, say before she just says it. And with the twins, it's very similar. With me, it's just like, I was thinking this, and that's just what it is. And so I took that into my adult years, and a lot in high school, I just said whatever. Like, it's just, this is what it is. Like, I don't feel bad about it. And then now at 24, I cringe thinking about some of the stuff that I said. Because I'm like, girl, why were you so mean about it? Like, why didn't you just say it like this? Like, those people have emotions too.
Right.
So, yeah, I do a lot of, like, just reflecting, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, that's your mama and you. Like,
yeah. Right. And it's so, like, it's different because, like, growing up as kids, like, you can be, like, so blunt, like, oh, you want to be friends? No.
Yeah.
Or, like, do you think this dress or shirt looks cute on me? No. Like, that is, like, that might seem little, but, like, realistically, that's going to, like, hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And they didn't sign up for that.
No, I literally had a friend once tell me, because so in high school, I had on some white jeans. I wore some white, and my outfit was so cute. In high school, I didn't have to wear, like, uniforms. So the outfit was so cute to me. I got home, it was like white jeans and like a striped sweater, but it was in the middle of winter. I got home and my mom was like, why are you wearing white? Like, you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day. And I was like 16. I literally am 24 years old, and I do not wear white after Labor Day. You cannot force me to wear white after Labor Day because there is a such thing as winter white, according to my mom. So I wear winter white now. And I had a friend, and she she was wearing something white, and I was like, I don't like those. And so I would literally just do it all the time. Like, I would just tell her, like, that's not cute. I don't like those. Like, we would go shopping. I'm like, put that back. That's not cute. Like, ew, like, choose something else. And she finally told me, like, I didn't ask for your opinion. Like, and the way you give it is rude. And I'm like, ooh, you're right.
Yeah. Honestly. And, like, that's such a good example because there's so many things that, like, I do and people don't ask for. Like, this is a very common one that me and Trevor just, like, openly, I will say it, like, we had an argue about it. It wasn't even an argument. It was, like, a little, like, yeah. But I constantly, like, my mom growing up was always cleaning up after me. Like, she was right behind me picking up the towel, right behind me, like, picking up the shoes, putting them in the closet kind of thing. And now I'm seeing that in me as an adult. Like, as soon as Trevor gets home from work, like, literally he'll put his keys down, take off his shoes. I grab his shoes for him, put it in that little shoe organizer. Like, he cracks an egg, leaves the shells on the counter. I grab them, put them in the trash. Like, and it's just the way that I'm wired that I'm just, like... And I always get mad at him. I'm like, why don't you clean up after yourself? Like, why don't you clean up after yourself? Like, it's literally, like, these little things. Like, it's not so hard to, like, go and walk to the trash 2 steps away instead of putting it on the counter. And he's like, I clean up after I'm done.
Yeah. That's his way of doing it.
That's his way of doing it.
Yeah.
And, like, it was literally just, like, a whole different, like, mindset turn. And, like... He started doing the laundry at a different time that I did because it wasn't the time that I wanted it done. He still gets it done, which is still like, like.
No, I get it.
But it's just like setting the expectations that your parents put in you are now coming into yourself, and you're putting those into your friends
and other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how have you, like, seen that either within, like, your relationships, your coworkers, just other people in your life?
Well, specifically, and I feel like something that me and my sister joke with my mom, one of my younger sisters. My younger sisters are twins. And so me and one of the twins always joke with my mom, and we're like, you want people to read your mind, and, like, I'm not fixing to do that. Like, so unless you say it, like, it's just going to be on your mind. I do that. I do that. Like, my last boyfriend, he and I are still really good friends. And just yesterday, I posted on social media, and it was a girl, and she was saying she wants flowers, but she doesn't want to have to say that she wants flowers because you should know that she wants flowers because she's thinking it. And he responded, and he was like, oh, my God, this is you. And I'm like, yeah, it is me. Like, I am expecting you to read my mind all the time when it's so simple to just say, hey, I want flowers. But to me, I'm like, you should know that. Like, I'm deserving of them, so why don't you know that?
Right.
And my mom is the exact same way.
I'm the exact same way.
Yes, maybe it's a woman thing.
I don't know. Because, like, when girls are, like... Michael's shaking his head, yes. When girls see that this guy loves them, we have this, like, expectation that you're going to get me flowers.
Because you love me.
Yeah. Or, like, you're going to, like, send me a good night text because you love me.
Or I'm just thinking about you throughout the day.
Yeah. Like, you're thinking about me, and I want to know that. And, oh, my gosh. And, honestly, I'm just saying, guys aren't that smart to know it.
Yeah.
They ain't that smart to know, like, what exactly to get you to please you. They just need, like, sometimes, this is very much Trevor. I think me saying, like, oh, I need a new vase for my flowers is a big enough hint, right? No, I got to put it in the save for later Amazon cart.
Oh, my God. That's different.
So
I haven't heard that one.
No, I gotta put it in the save for later Amazon cart.
So that way he knows that you want it.
Yeah. And it's like tangible on his phone.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna hate me for saying this, but he don't listen.
Yeah.
Like, he listens, but when I'm like, oh, we should do this, he'll be like, oh yeah, scroll.
And so I think that's why my ex-boyfriend would get so frustrated with me, because like the smallest things, like I would mention like, oh, I want to do this, like randomly, and he would just like randomly remember and like set those things up for me, and like we would go do those things. But it's like, I want flowers and you should know it. Like, literally, that's something that I think in my head, and he has no idea of knowing it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm mad. I'm really upset with you for about a week straight, because it's like, why haven't I received them yet? You know that I like them. We've discussed my favorite flowers multiple times. I've quizzed you, asking you like, hey, what are my favorite flowers? And you can tell me what my favorite flowers are. So why are you not getting them for me? It just doesn't make sense. But then again, that's literally my mom and me that I see. Mm-hmm. I recognize it because my mom's the exact same way.
Yeah.
And maybe it's crazy.
No, my mom's the same way too. Because she'll be like, see, it's different because women know though that like we think that way. Mm-hmm. And so when my mom goes and picks up my dad from like a party and he's drunk or something, she knows to go through the Taco Bell drive-thru because that's what my dad likes.
Exactly.
But if my dad was in that situation with my mom, which would never happen,
they're going straight home.
Yep. Yep.
It just goes to show we're wired differently, I guess.
I know. Like, they're going straight home.
And he's probably irritated the whole time.
Yeah. Or he's expecting something at the end of that drive, let me tell you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But, okay, so going back into it, I guess. How has your family standards influenced, like, how you take that into yourself, and how, like, have you met them? Have you not? Do you plan on meeting them? So, like, for me, it was, like, my family expected me to graduate from college, and I did it.
Mm-hmm. I think that my mom put certain expectations on us, and then as we've gotten older and challenged them, they've kind of changed. So at first, that was an expectation for all of us. Like, you graduate high school, you go to college, and you make something of yourself. My older sister, she's still in college, but her life, like, she just took a different path. She chose to get married first and then, like, finish school. I went from high school to college, but then I'd sat out a year. I finished school, but it wasn't the 4 years that my mom had mapped out for me. One of my sisters, one of the twins, she went to a community college for a year. She realized she didn't like school. So she's not doing school, which is fine, which my mom is now she's now accepting that. And then the other twin chose not to do school, and she's doing the military. So I think that the expectations, that's one expectation she put on us, that she is reevaluating herself, because there's more than one path to success. And I think that she, growing up in the time that she did, growing up in the time that she did, the right thing to do was to go to college and then you get a good job. But that's not the way of the world anymore. And so we realized that, and now she's having to shape or change the way she was looking at college. Right. So that's one example. Something else, my mom has always taught us to give. So that's just something that's huge with me and all of my sisters. Anytime we do something, it's from like a giving place, like from the most sincere part of our heart. Like, it's just very sincere. Like, it's something that we've thought about. Like, we genuinely want to do it. But I know that's also something that my mom instilled in us. Every holiday, we would go downtown. I think maybe this is First Methodist on Texas Street. anyways, we would go feed the homeless every holiday. So it's just like certain things like that, or just like stopping and like buying homeless people food, or just giving homeless people money, or just all types of things like that I know like that started from a really young age. That my mom, I think it started out like her making us do it, and then it turned into us like genuinely loving to do, like give back to the community or serve wherever we can, or just helping out. Like another passion of mine is like helping or wanting to help girls that look like me, so young Black girls. But I know that's because when I was little, my mom worked at the YWCA when she was putting herself through college. So she was literally helping like middle school, I think they were like elementary, middle school girls. And so she would pick up me and my older sister, and she would like let us see the way that some of the girls were living compared to us. So that's just a memory that I have from a child, knowing that there are people out there that look like me but live completely different. So now that's a passion of mine, is helping people that don't, maybe that some people, I mean, helping people that come from similar backgrounds, but specifically like those that don't come from the same background as me. But I know that's something that started with my mom. That's a way that she influenced me. That was an expectation that she put on us. And again, like I was saying, it started out as like her forcing us to do it, and then it just turned into like, oh, I actually enjoy doing this.
Yeah. My parents also had the same expectation for college, mostly because, well, my dad didn't go to college. He went to trade school. And then my mom, she did 2 years, and then she got a 2-year specialty. So she didn't technically do a bachelor's. So I would have been I am first gen.
Okay, that's huge.
So that's like super exciting.
Yeah.
Which is, it was hard because like it was a big goal, but at the same time, like they knew nothing about like FAFSA.
So they couldn't really help you.
Yeah. And so it was like a big thing to graduate in 2.5 years, like on top of that. But I guess like another thing that they instilled in me was like making sure that I think I told you this in the other room, so I'm just going to repeat it. But whenever I was like super young, I would go over to a friend's house and always introduce myself to the parents and thank them for dinner if I was over for dinner. I don't know if that was because of them not getting that same energy back from my friends, or because they just wanted me to show gratitude in that way. And even today, like, I still do it with, like, if I meet, let's say your boyfriend walks up here someday.
I'm like, whatever he does, come find me.
Whenever he comes up here, you best know I'm shaking his hand, like, and different things like that. Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, hey, like.
Yeah.
Because, like, you guys are important to me. I know these are important people in your life. Like, I want to appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of them. I will say that one of them that didn't go through was my mom's parents were super, super Catholic growing up. And when I was born, I was the firstborn for my parents. And her mom was like, oh, you better get her baptized like a week after being born. Otherwise, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
And so I get baptized because my mom's like, okay, whatever.
We have to do this.
Yeah. And then growing up, we went to a Lutheran church to continue to go to church because there wasn't like any Catholic ones in the area. And my father's Lutheran. And so it was kind of like a compromise in that way. But in college, I then chose to go to a private Catholic university to honor my mom's parents in that way. And also I got a really good scholarship, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But going there, I thought I was going to kind of like rebirth and like being a Catholic, which made me like totally not.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing because I thought it was something I wanted, and I thought it was something that I could really see myself grow into, but then I realized like this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's still like super important to like go through those steps, because I would still be kicking myself for not going.
Not trying.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even know, like.
Most definitely. I feel like that's a huge one, just as far as like religion,
Mm-hmm.
because I was raised in the church. Like, I grew up Baptist, and then a few years ago, or maybe when I was in high school, like we started going to like a non-denominational church. So we just like stopped claiming like a specific denomination. Mm-hmm. But then like as I've gotten older, like I challenge a lot of religion, and so that's totally against what I was taught as a child.
Right.
But I'm lucky because I can go to my mom and tell her, this doesn't make sense. And she looks at me and she's like, I know, it doesn't.
Yep.
And I'm glad that you are bold enough to say or to challenge.
Or challenge you to your mother. Yeah.
Because with my mom, she was raised in a house where it's like, you do as I say because I say so, and you don't question it. And she didn't raise us like that. So I would walk around as a child and correct everyone.
Oh.
I would literally be in a room full of adults, and my mom would have to she always jokes, and she's like, I had to like be very mindful of where I took you, because you would offend a lot of adults because you would just correct everyone. Like if they said something wrong, like you would just let them know, like, no, that's not right. Like it's this, and this. But like growing up the way that she grew up, it was disrespectful for a child to be doing that. But my mom didn't raise me that way. So she always said, it's not really what you say, it's how you say it. And as long as you're saying it in a very polite, as long as you're not saying it in a disrespectful way, I don't mind you challenging an adult. Mm-hmm. But that has caused a lot of like backlash with her and older generations, like in her family, because it's like your child's disrespectful. And she's like, no, she didn't say anything wrong. You don't like that she's a younger generation challenging what you're saying to her, even though it's wrong. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Go off. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So, there was a lot in this episode.
Most definitely.
And I think there was, like, a lot to talk about, and I hope this gets, like, the ball rolling for people, because it's something that, like, a lot of us don't think about on a day-to-day basis, for sure. It
takes, I think, a lot of, like, self-reflecting, and I think that, like, we're like, at that age where it's just, like, we're moving, like, we're doing, like, what we think we're supposed to be doing, but it really takes, like, taking a step back, and, like, asking yourself, like, why do I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this? Like, why do I feel like I'm supposed to be in this specific place?
Right.
And it's, a lot of the times, it's because that's what we were taught. So I think that this episode was so important because it's really just like stressing that you have to do a lot of self-evaluation as you get older in order to understand why you are the way that you are, so that you'll know where you're headed in the future, pretty much. Like they say, if you don't know your history, then it'll repeat. I don't know why I'd be trying to like quote stuff and then I get it wrong. It's something like, if you don't know your history, then like it's going to repeat itself. Yeah. If you don't know your history, it's going to repeat itself. So it's important to like, just like look back and like truly understand like where things come from, so that you'll know how to change it or how to redirect or all that jazz. I'm always trying to quote something and I quote it wrong.
It's okay.
I think it's hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, there was a lot in this episode. We're super excited to have you guys give us feedback on what you think. But yeah, so let us know what you think. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, hopefully TikTok soon. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.